Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tech Sharmit podcast. Today, I am here with another special guest, Professor Dharam Buddhi, who is joining us from India itself. If I talk about Professor Dharam, then he is the Vice Chancellor of Uttaranchal University and a distinguished academic leader with decades of experience in higher education, clean energy, and research. His work in energy storage and clean energy has earned him global recognition with more than 18,000 research citations. Beyond academic, he has actively shaped policies, driven innovation in green energy, and inspired countless students and professionals along the way. So today in this episode, we are going to talk about his journey, his contribution for the academic as well as research domain. But before we start with all of that, I would like to thank Professor Dharam for joining us today in this episode. And now I request you to please initiate the discussion by telling us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Amit, and I'm really happy to be part of Tech Summit today. And I hope we will be viewed globally after the discussions which we are going to do. As you have mentioned that myself, Professor Dharam Buddhi, I started my career, of course, in energy and basically as a professional in energy. When I say as a professional, it means that I did some myself work and I also guided a good number of students who are doing excellent in the field of energy as on today, not in India, across the globe. They are working in US, they are in Gulf countries, Europe, and many other countries they are working as on today. And I'm always proud of my students. So I think today's discussion will be focused on more what we are going to do, what we are thinking about the energy scenario in the country.
All right. Okay, so for starting this discussion, Professor Bodhi, I just want to know, or I just want to introduce the real or the person who is like we all know about your achievements, your contribution, because you have been a vice chancellor at multiple university, a professor, a researcher, and an industry leader. Even though you have worked with international agencies. But if you had to introduce yourself in one line, or I would say beyond the LinkedIn bio, how would you define yourself?
Yeah, it is a wonderful question from your side. I always love to be a professor
Okay.
because I feel professor is the only designation or a person who can create knowledge and who can do something for the society. So I would always love to be a professor and like called to be a professor.
Okay.
Because as a professor, as I mentioned, you have a lot of responsibilities and accountabilities. In other academic and administrative positions, you may not be having those kind of accountability and responsibilities. So I love to be a professor.
Okay. All right. So now we will talk a bit about those early days. So what was the first spark that drew you towards the energy, sustainability, and research in this field? Like my question is, did you ever imagine that it would take to the 18,000 plus research citation and global recognition after deciding this career?
Aha, wow, Amit, if we talk about the journey,
Hmm.
perhaps when it was mid 80s,
Okay.
at that time, everyone was talking about the energy crisis in the country, in India.
Hmm.
And another way, if we see that energy is always backbone of any country for the development.
Right.
So I decided to continue my studies in the field of energy. And in 1984, I joined IIT Delhi. Perhaps at that time, they were having a Center for Energy Studies. I decided to be part of that. And I took admission there as a in the doctoral program. And I'm happy to share that the kind of the exposure we got there, the kind of the training we got there, that helped me and shaped us to do something for the country in future. And I can say very proudly that the work which I have done there that was associated with thermal energy storage. Because as we know that if you talk about the renewable energy, green energy, or solar energy, either wind energy, they are variable source. And if you have a variable source, then it's not available you for 24 hours.
Right.
It means that you have to store it. So that kind of the work I started there. And later on, I also joined energy efficiency, energy conservation, green buildings, which further helped me to connect with the sustainability. So I feel the energy and sustainability has to go together. Recently, we have written a book on circular economy and sustainability. And I feel very strongly that circular economy is going to be the next, which is going to support the sustainability in the country and also to provide new startups in the country. And if you talk about my citations, as you have mentioned, I'm
Mm.
really proud that my research has been acknowledged internationally.
Yes.
Everyone, I think most of the people who are working in this area, they have read my papers and then cited them. And I got 18,000 plus citations as on today. And this is always a proud moment for a researcher whose papers have been cited. But the most important part is that if you write a paper and
Mhm.
if it has not been read by others, perhaps then the impact is less. So these 18,000 plus citations have made a big impact in research, in energy, in the globally.
Okay, so here I just want to ask one thing, like when you prepared your first citation, your first research, and after that, after completing these 18,000 plus, even more than that citation, so did it change your perspective toward the research work after doing so many citations in the research field?
Very true. I think when we started the research in mid 80s,
Mm-hmm.
at that time, perhaps the citations and the other kind of acknowledgements were really not very well known to the people
Yes.
because there was no digital data available across everyone across. Now as on today we have the digital data and you can see like Google Scholar is there, Scopus is there, Web of Science is there, and you can see your research outcomes, what they are and how they have put an impact. So
Mhm.
at the time it was not there, but I'm very fortunate to quote today. I think around 2000, perhaps between 98 to 1998 to 2000, Amazon started such practices that
Mm.
if your paper is cited, they were acknowledging at their own web page. So at the time we were looking through the Amazon, and that's why we feel very happy that okay, my paper has been acknowledged across the globe and has been basically written by or presented by Amazon.com. But now, being a digital world, it's very easily available and lot of sources are available to see it. So initially, when you have a starting the research papers, writing and citations, they make you more and more happy. But of course, when you get 17,000, 18,000, 20,000, now it has become a number.
Right.
So, but still it is very important that people are studying your research, acknowledging your research, and quoting it in their research papers.
Okay. All right. And Professor Dharam, like when while doing research about your profile, I found very interesting thing that you started your academic journey from a public funded Devi Ahilya University Indore. Then you shifted to the private funded university. So how do you see this transition? Like, are you looking at this transition as a blessings or it is not a blessing for you? Like, how you see it?
Yeah, yeah, Sumit, it's a wonderful question you have asked. And basically, it's very important for the audience also.
Yes.
Because if you see the everyone, most of the people are running behind the government
Correct.
employment. But shifting from a government employment to a private industry employment is really different and it's very challenging also. But
Mm-hmm.
in my case, I feel it's a blessings to me
Okay.
because as I mentioned it to you that after completing my doctoral from IIT Delhi, I joined Devi Ahilya University as a researcher, not as a lecturer and a researcher. And Devi Ahilya University Indore is a public funded university.
Okay.
So, and I took the research work there. And again, I started my research work in the same field which I initiated at IIT Delhi, thermal energy storage. And we developed certain technologies there. And I'm very happy to share one of my technology was taken by the industry. If you remember in the year of 2002 to 2005, there was a huge expansion in telecom sector.
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a telecom sector provider, you need electricity for 24 hours. But at that time, even today, we still have a certain shortage of electricity in
Yes.
rural areas. in urban areas also. So at the time they were looking a solution for their systems in telecom sector. I provided them and I joined them for some duration. And that helped me to understand the industry, that how they are working, the private industry, how they are working, how they are looking the outcomes and how they are fixing the targets of individuals. So that helped me a lot. Then after doing that industry services, I decided to shift from government industry, government organization to private organization. So then I joined a university, and nowadays I'm working as a vice chancellor of a university. So I always feel that if you are working in a private university, there is a lot of things to do. The
Hmm.
sky is the limit to explore your potential. So I
Right.
feel that as compared to the government university, the private university, you can explore more yourself, you can do more work, and you can contribute more towards the society and towards the individuals as well as to the nation.
Okay. All right. So now we will talk about your professional roles, because we can see that you wear so many hats like researcher, teacher, vice chancellor, advisor, and a policy expert also. So what do you think? Like, where did you feel the most alive in all of these roles? Like, I'm sure like it all has created the person you are today. But what was that one position or that one responsibility that feel you most alive?
Amit, again, I will say a teacher.
Teacher.
Of course, I started my career as a lecturer. Then at that time, we called reader. Reader means, as on today, it is called associate professor.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I became a full professor in the year of 2000.
Okay.
So, but still, I feel then, of course, I worked in the industry as a director of the technology. Along with that, I also served different organizations, and presently, the organization I'm heading as a Vice Chancellor. In addition to that, I also have been part of certain committees at the Government of India level and other different levels, national and international level, including Asian Development Bank, as you might have seen my resume that I have been international consultant for a project to Asian Development Bank. So I always feel as a teacher, I'm always proud. There is again a reason that because as a teacher you have to do three tasks that are very, very important for a teacher. He has to teach as a teacher. He has to do conduct a research as well as he has to connect with the community. So as a teacher, I feel you can do a better service to the society, to the humanity, to the country. So I am always proud of to be called as a teacher, which I always feel.
Okay. All right. So moving ahead, we will talk a bit about your global collaboration, because you, as you also mentioned, that you have collaborated globally also for different research work and your contributions. So, like from France to Japan to New Zealand and so many other places, which international practice in energy as well as in education do you wish that India should adopt immediately when we compare it with the current system?
Yeah, Amit, it's a very wonderful and very important question which you have raised. Not for me, it's for everyone in the country.
Yes.
And as you have mentioned, I have been most of the countries in Europe, then East Asia, US, New Zealand, Australia, and many more countries.
Mhm.
But what I have found that most of the places that energy security and energy efficiency is very important. If
Yes.
you are in Europe and you are in Australia, you will hardly see that there is a power failure. But in
Mhm.
India, if you see in India, there are conditions that most few times, few hours, or in certain places, maybe few more longer hours, we may not have the power security or the energy available to them. So I mean that as a country, we must focus that energy security and power quality. The second, which we should focus as a country on that, because if you see every house is having inverter and lot of transformers are available when you are distributing the electricity in the network. When you have an inverter or a transformer, again there is a power loss. So we are
Yes.
losing our energy, which is reaching to the common man or a user at the user end. So my observations internationally was that they were more focused on energy security and power quality. And I think as a nation in India, we must also focus on that.
Okay. So, Professor Dharam, like this is something that needs a bit time, like more time, I would say, and lots of team members to implement these kind of things and to get the proper solution for the India for a nation level. But here I would like to ask another question because you have traveled so many countries. So what one thing, what one smallest and simplest idea you have saw abroad that India could adopt and massively, like by adopting that thing, India can massively benefit from it. So any simple idea that maybe any student can do or implement in order to get better outcomes.
Yeah, Amit, actually, if you are moving in Europe, Australia, or US, in
Hmm.
Japan, or
Yeah.
some other developed nation. So what I have noticed that their good civic practices are there.
Okay.
Though India is a very old civilization, we say that India is a very, very old civilization. But still, we are missing certain civic practices at home, in the cities, or as a nation. I remember that if you go to any country, you will find that everyone is behaving in a good way. Their traffic sense is very different what we have in our country. Everything is very, very disciplined. So I think as an India, what I have seen there, that their civic sense was very high. I can give an example. What can one example that if you are, let us say, the immigration, every airport you have to do an immigration.
Yeah.
I say if you are in Europe or in US or in Australia, everyone is standing in a very disciplined way in the queue. But when they are coming back to India, the Indian as an Indian, when we are coming back to India, and at Indira Gandhi National International Airport, and if you see the behavior is very different.
Hmm.
Everyone is trying that I should be the first to get immigration.
Right.
So what I feel, the first thing which we should initiate in the nation to be disciplined, to understand the to be disciplined and to understand the civic sense so that everything can be done in an easy way and in a better way. So my suggestions, what I have not noticed in most of the countries, that they are having certain disciplines, and we should also follow them.
Right. And I'm also agree with
In
this
my
thing.
in my opinion, civic sense is more important.
Yes, it is. Yeah, in fact, like recently I had a chance to read one of the articles that is for from China, and there I found that what the people of China are doing, like their authority generate a civic score for every citizen. So let's say if someone is helping a person to cross the road or traffic light, right? So what they will do, like through cameras, they are generating a certain civic code for that person, and then that civic score is utilized to check whether the person is capable or eligible to stay in particular resident in China. Like they have their categories, A category, B category, and according to that civic score only, they are deciding like whether the person should be in there or no. So like overall purpose behind this civic score is just to uh, make a responsible person that yes, this is not only the responsibility but it is something that everyone should do. Like if there is someone who needs our help, so they should come forward and do the needful things over there. So this thing can
Very
be.
true. Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very true. In India also, I think there's a need to have such civic score. In fact, now certain universities, when I was at Suresh Gyan Vihar University, we
Mhm.
initiated that in terms of life skills
Okay.
to understand them better, civic sense. So we initiated one course there, and that was on life skills in 2016. So India, I think, but it has to be initiated by every institute. And
Right.
I'm happy to share that now I think it has become a part of national education policy. So I think most of the institutions are now following it.
Yes. Okay, so now moving ahead, I would like to ask one hypothetical question, and this is on the behalf of all audience and those who are from who are unknown. So my question is like, if you had an unlimited budget or zero bureaucracy, so what one energy project you would launch tomorrow that could transform India completely? So what one project that you will look for?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very good question you have raised, and now everyone is looking that kind of solutions. if we talk as on to the whole world is looking for the sustainability. And
Yes.
United Nations have already developed 17 SDG goals.
Mm-hmm.
And again, out of these 17 goals, one of the goal is energy affordability and availability. So if you have clean energy, affordability and availability of that. So that is one area which everyone should think. And if I have given an opportunity, so
Mm-hmm.
I will be having three objectives. One is, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the quality of power,
Yes.
so that the need of transformers, inverters, these all can be removed from the circuit. Second would be the energy security, and third would be the sustainability. And for these three all to meet all these three goals, I think we have to more work on green energy, green power solutions, and already the India is working on solar energy and wind energy. But a new technology which is coming in near future, fuel cells based on hydrogen energy. So my major focus will be based on green power along with sustainability, power quality, and energy security to the people of India. That will be my major objective.
Okay, and here I want to ask one thing. Like nowadays, everyone is talking about Chat GPTs and similar kind of platforms. So, do you think that these kind of tools are also impacting the environment somewhere, or are you looking toward these tools as a threat for the environment also, or for the energies?
Yeah, actually, you have mentioned it very rightly when you have these kind of the technologies like
Yeah.
ChatGPT is there, artificial intelligence kind of tools are available as on today. When you are making use of them, of course, you need a power for that.
Right.
And there are a lot of servers, and maybe through cloud or some other methods, lot of servers are working over it. Further, you have to develop the algorithms for that. And
Yes.
when you are developing the computer algorithms for that, then again, you need more and more power. So, of course, you are very right that if you are going to make use of such technologies, definitely you are going to use more power, more energy to make them usable for everyone.
Okay, so here like we would love to recommend all of the students, like if you are using these kind of artificial intelligence tools like ChatGPT or something, and if you think that problem is not that big and you can simply do a Google for that, then try to avoid using the ChatGPT, because if you use it repetitively, somewhere it is affecting the environment also. So yeah, like if there is a certain task which need that much of analysis, then you can go for the ChatGPT or such tools. But if you think the problem is not that big, maybe we can check out it in a books and other research paper or something like that. So maybe we can
Yeah, Amit,
contribute
you're
to
very
that.
right. Energy and environment, they go together. If you use more energy, you are damaging more to the environment. So
Right.
if we have to be energy efficient, then of course you are going to make use of less. You are going to make use of less energy, then you are damaging less environment. So they go together in a negative correlation.
Hmm. Okay, so we talked about energy. Now, similar kind of question I would like to ask. Imagine you had the power to rewrite Indian education system in one stroke. So, what's the first subject you would like to add in academic, and which one you would like to remove or maybe modify it a bit to for the better outcomes?
Yeah, I think if I haven't given an opportunity
Mm-hmm.
that what you have mentioned, I will like to do two things basically.
Okay.
First will be the, as I mentioned initially, civic science with ethics, and second will be the project-based learning. These two things I will like to add in my curriculum if I have to propose for that. And if you say what should be removed, it's a very difficult question
Yeah.
because a lot of things you have to do for that. A lot of work has to be done if you have to remove something from the text. But still, I feel that in most of the curriculum, we are teaching a lot of theoretical subjects.
Mm.
But my suggestion would be that if we can have a less subjects and more focus on practical training, perhaps that is going to help our students in a better way, our country in a better way. I can quote one example when I was in New Zealand,
Mm-hmm.
and I was at Auckland University, and they were having a MOU, one of the best institution in India.
Okay.
And initially, they were having an exchange of the students between India and New Zealand. But
Mhm.
later, they reduced it or more or less stopped it. Then I asked the professor at New Zealand at Auckland University, why so? Then he mentioned to me that the students coming from India, they are good in mathematics,
Mhm.
they are good in analytical analysis, but they are not good in experiments. So,
Huh.
and as New Zealand, we are having more experimental studies, more practical studies as compared to theoretical. So my suggestion would be that we had to add more practical learnings and to reduce the more number of courses which we are teaching as on today in the institutions.
Yeah, and I also agree with this thing because if this kind of vision is implemented in the Indian education system, then we can expect a drastic change. And the like because if the students are more practical, then they can find the more innovative solutions also because now they are thinking beyond the textbook and beyond the theoretical concept. So they will find out the actual problem in the society and they will look for more practical solutions for it. Okay, so now we will talk bit about the support system because throughout your journey you have touched so many lives, you have supported so many students and researchers, right? But I just want to know like who were those key people who have helped you in your journey, maybe a family member, friend, colleagues. So who were those key people for you?
It's, yeah, it's a beautiful question, I think, and that's very important for everyone's life. The first, I can say, my mother.
Yeah.
She always motivated to do some good task. My father, my teachers, and if I take the name of few my teachers, IIT Delhi and other institutions, Professor R.L. Sahani was one of them who really shaped our life, my life. Professor M.S. Soda, who has been a professor at IIT Delhi. Professor N.K. Bansal, also professor at IIT Delhi, and he also has been vice chancellor of a university. In addition to that, if I talk as on today, Mr. Jitendra Joshi, the president of Uttaranchal University,
Mhm.
also has us motivated, not to me, the whole university to do good task, including the research. And the university has a very high task, high objectives towards the research. Similarly, Dr. Sudhanshu, to whom you might have met perhaps,
Yes.
co-founder of Suresh Gyan Vihar University, also had an impact because the way he thinks, the way he interacts wonderfully, that's very wonderful. So really that also he also has made an impact on my journey in academic institutions in my life to achieve certain things. In addition to that, of course, my wife also made certain contributions because the wife is always a good critic and she's always a good motivator also. So she always motivates that what we should do, what we should not do. So these are the people who have definitely have certain contributions in my life. In addition to that, if I talk about the two institutions, those who have made a difference in my life, one was the IIT Delhi and second was the Devi Ahilya University Indore. So the few persons and of course these two organizations have made my life, my journey in academics very strong, very achievable, and very wonderful.
Okay. All right. So now, Professor Dharam, like although with expert like yourself, there are plenty of things that we can discuss during the podcast, but we are we have limited time. So I just would like to ask my last question, and this question again is related to the piece of advice. So, if you could stand in front of every classroom in India, students on the one side and the faculty members on the another side, and you have to just share one piece of advice to each group that could transform their journey in education and life. So what would you say to the students and what would you suggest or say to the faculty members?
Yeah, actually, if you see my experience in the field of education, I have been about more than 35 years in this area. And I think thousands of students have been trained till
Yes.
now by me. And I have been in contact, maybe of again thousands of faculty members. So if you ask me for the students, I will suggest to the students they have to respect their teachers. That is the first thing they should do.
Right.
And second, they should be hardworking. When I say the hardworking, they should be very well planned. They must plan their
Hmm.
studies. Along with they must have a commitment to their studies.
Right.
So if a student can do hard work and has a commitment to his or her studies, perhaps going to be successful in his life, what or in his journey, and will be able to make a transformation among the students. And the second, which is a very important component of education, teacher.
Teachers.
So teachers, as you have mentioned, that teachers are there to transform the life of the students.
Right.
And when they are transforming the life of the students, it's basically having an impact on the society as well as on the nation. I think our one of the vice president mentioned, Dr. Radhakrishnan, at a time that teachers are the best mind of the nation.
Right.
So if they are the best mind of the nation, so they have to show it that we are really the best. So for that, they must update their skills very regularly because the skills are dynamic. They are not static in nature. So they must, whatever the changing, what are coming in the society, in industry sector or across the globe, they must adopt them, they must understand them, and then try to tell or try to take to try to tell to their students basically.
Hmm.
The word which I can say, the students should be able to understand what's the happening now it is in this new world. The second important would be that they should also attend certain faculty development programs. That's very
Yes.
important. And they should attend them and they should understand them. And when they are attending these programs, they should behave like a student, not as a teacher. That's again a very
Hmm.
important. Because the learning process comes through a student, not through a teacher. So my suggestions to all teachers would be that try to be a dynamic in understanding the technology or the subject which they are teaching and try to get the new material from the different sources along with should attend certain faculty development programs so that they can have three E's. I always say three E's: the energy, edge, and execute. So if a
Hmm.
teacher is having all the three E's, these three E's, perhaps he can be a good teacher and he can be a successful teacher.
Okay. So yeah, I think with these so many great advice, with your vision and with your experience, you have made this conversation really very inspiring and actionable also. Because I'm sure like these things will resonate not only with the students but also with the faculty members, and they can try to implement these things in their day-to-day life to make it to get the better outcome. So thank you once again, Dr. Dharam, and for joining us in this episode and for sharing your expertise with everyone. So I hope you also enjoyed the discussion. So thank you once again.
Yeah, thanks, Amit. I think really I enjoyed it, and I hope the discussions we have going to support to the society, to the students, faculty members, and those who are viewing it. Thank you very much for inviting me for a wonderful talk.
Thank you.